And the house needs 12.
No. Damon said something about 13. That there are 13 ghosts.
The 13th ghost is a failsafe. In order to stop the process, the house needs a sacrifice of life instead of death. A willing human sacrifice. The sacrifice of the broken heart. The only ghost to be created out of an act of pure love.
You're the 13th ghost.
The 13th spirit stands before the eye at the final configuration. As the eye opens, the spirit uses the power of life to essentially short-circuit the system.
Uses the power of life how?
By leaping into the eye.
Son of a bitch! You are nothing, Arthur! You hear nothing! I dedicated my entire life to this. Every waking moment for years. Have you ever shown that kind of dedication? Have you? Have you?
Alright, so technically Arthur Kriticos isn't actually one of the 13 ghosts in the movie. Spoiler alert, my bad. But the role he was going to play was to be one of the 13 ghosts, therefore he made the cut. The makeup is pretty simple. I've just made myself look very, very tired by adding a lot of a cool tone gray shadow to my eyes with a fluffy brush. Alongside a very pink blush, not to my cheeks, but under my eyes. This can be done with a shadow instead, but I prefer a creamy texture of a blush to blend out, especially using the heat of my finger, which I did for this tutorial. For some more dimension to this tired look, I'm going to be using that same gray but more concentrated on an angled eyeliner brush and making some bags under my eyes and blending that out a bit with the same fluffy brush that I used before, using the product that was left on it. Using the same gray, I'm working that into the natural contours and ridges of my face, as in my smile lines around my nose. My jaw, and which I am then blending out a little bit with a very, very big brush because it was a little bit too concentrated for my liking. My chin lip line, whatever that's called. As for my lips, I'm using a dark tone burgundy color. To add a little bit more to the makeup though, I'm gathering away from my face, going to be drawing the symbol of the sacrifice of the broken heart on my hand. First off, in a very easy to draw off pencil, which is going to be this next one. It's Slide On Glide On. The one that's a turn on, I can never remember the name for that. But then once I've got the exact shape I want, I'm using a black liquid liner over top of that, and that's it. You ready, guys, for the broken heart? And we're back! No duh. Points to you if you know where that's referenced from. We're doing some... Get it? Because it says SFXy Beast. Shout out to Mikey from Glam & Gore for the merchandise. Thought of myself, but still shout out. Today we are going to be making a special effects heart. Whew. I will always apologize for the sound quality in this room. It's never going to be up to par. It's never going to be what it usually is. So we just got to deal with it. So for this project, we're going to be making special effects gelatin. And for that, you will need unflavored gelatin, glycerin, and water. And at some point you'll need some kind of colorant, whether that be food coloring, water activated paint like I am using, because I don't generally like this paint, so I just use it for a colorant now. You can use it in its natural form of just like scraping it off like I'm going to do, or you can use it with some actual water to make it go a little bit further. You can also use, I'm stuck at a standstill. Basically any kind of thing that would turn it red. Food coloring, water activated paint, maybe alcohol activated paint, except for it's going to be a little bit more translucent. Anything like that. I'll post anything more up on the screen that I can think of. To get started, I'm going to be using a bowl. Got a smiley face on it. I'm going to be putting all my ingredients in here. Basically, the ratio we're going to be using for today's project is 1 part glycerin, 1 part gelatin, and 1.5 parts water. Use it to your liking however you'd like to make it, because everybody's project probably going to be different. I have done this a couple times on my channel, but I've never done it like a full-on tutorial on it, so I want to do that for you guys. Now you definitely can eyeball this, but I have tried that in the past and it hasn't worked out the best for me, so I'm going to be using an actual form of measurement, which is basically just going to be a spoon. So if you use 1 spoonful for the glycerin, 1 spoonful for the unflavored gelatin, you're going to use 1.5 spoonfuls for the water. I'm going to be using quite a bit more. We gonna make a heart. The unflavored gelatin, that specific brand and maybe more, can be found at your local Safeway or your local grocery store. The glycerin can be found at your local grocery store or your local drugstore, and water, well, that can be found on Earth or from your sink, which inevitably is from Earth, so back to the first one. This is where I'm going to be adding in my colorant, aka my scraped out water activated paint.
If you want me to get close to you, just tell me.
Obviously, the more coloring you add, the more pigmented it's going to be.
What to do, tell me what to do. If you want me to take over, just give me the green light, just give me the green light. If you want me.
Generally, my rule of thumb is to put it in for about 10 to 15 second increments and continue on by how much you've made. Because each batch that is made, if it's bigger, it obviously has to go in for a little bit longer. If it's smaller, it will do its thing in a less amount of time. Now for the fun and kind of nerve-wracking part, I'm gonna say. Placing it in the cup. So the reason why this gets the heart shape is because we're going to be placing it into a cup that we've kind of like pre-distributed. I don't know why I keep grouping around, but I'm not mad at it. That was a lot, that was a lot, that was a lot. So to do this, I take a paper towel and I kind of just rip it in half. In a very, very crappy way, or take the whole one, it depends. Kind of just push it completely down. Kind of just keep doing that around it to give it mostly some shape.
To take over, just give me the green light, just give me a slip.
I swear, just because this looks like it's turning into an American Pie kind of situation, it's not. I swear it's not. I'm gonna be using salt and basically just
Tell me what to do, tell me what to do.
it's just gonna be kind of like a place.
If you want me to take over, just give me the green light, just give me the green light.
Now we're just gonna transfer this. You don't really get an option after you've placed it in how it's gonna look. And I just kind of tie it up here. And with these little things up here, it actually looks quite cool because it starts to get little veins coming up, which is generally what hearts get. I was also contemplating adding this into it, which if you guys haven't seen my Next Face Awards submission video, sadly didn't get into the Next Face Awards, but if you guys didn't see it, I did use this on my body. But I kind of almost wanted to add it into the heart to make it have like a beating effect, but I think it's going to be a little bit too pigmented. Oh, so pigmented. That this won't actually do anything because it has a very slight coloration to it. Like, you guys can probably barely see it, if at all. So honestly, not really a point, but if you guys do have something that's maybe a little bit more neon or bright or like colorful and such, that you do want to add into this that's of a red or blue color, I would definitely recommend you adding that in because honestly, that would give it such a cool like beating heart effect. But yeah, now we just wait. Like that'll 100% get lost in it, so there's really no point. Alright, so we're back and things might look a little bit different. It's been quite a few hours. It's been a video or two later, but we're back. And apparently with a vengeance, is that how that goes? No idea. Okay, hand gestures always. So this is what we were left with. I did end up manipulating it just like a little bit, because it wasn't the exact shape that I ended up wanting, and it is a little bit pliable as you can see, hence why it really realistically looks like a heart. But the first thing I'm going to do is take off the first layer of cellophane, because I end up putting another layer on.
If you want me to get close to you, just tell me what to do.
This is the part you're going to be really careful with, up here, because you do want to cling on to a couple of those little like legs that they have, as I just break one. Love that for me. Love it.
Tell me what to do. If you want me to take over, just give me the green light. Just give me the green light.
And I'm just gonna set this aside to actually fully dry, because as much as it has set, it's not really fully dry, so it is tacky to the touch, and we don't want that when we're actually using it because we're gonna get little things all over us. I will mention as well, if you're leaving this to set for longer than I did, I would definitely recommend leaving it away from the sun, because as gelatin does work is you put it into the microwave and it changes consistency because of the heat, so it is heat activated. It also tends to drip a little bit too much down my face whenever I'm using any kind of gelatin form on my face, because of the heat from my face starts to come off easier. So you don't want to leave it in direct sunlight, you don't want to leave it in a super hot room, anything like that. So if you're waiting for it to fully sit down, you definitely don't want to put it out into the sun. But that is it for today's video, and I do hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys. Oh, always awkward. Okay, cat. Y'all need to chill. Meow. Can you not? No. Bashing my camera stand. Can you not?